Call the meeting to order, please. Item 2, a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3, the adoption of the agenda.
Motion to adopt.
Support Center.
Van Sickle and seconded by Commissioner Zenner.
Okay.
Please vote.
Okay.
Motion passes 12-0.
Item number 4, the approval of minutes of July the 23rd, 2025. Entertain a motion.
Support.
Mr. Hall and Mr. Goyke.
Goyke.
Please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Item 5, public participation. Anyone from the public wish to speak on any item that's on the agenda? There'll be an additional opportunity at the end of the meeting to speak on any issue. Anyone from the public to speak on any issue? Any issue? We'll close public participation. Thank you. Item number 6, I'd like to recommend that we put 6A through 6E. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Van Sickle and Commissioner Grott. Please vote. Item,
No, you got it.
right, item 6A, consumer energy update. Laura? Give us a short update.
I will make it very quick. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lauren Brosh, Community Affairs Manager for Consumers Energy, for those of you that don't know me. So I'm going to provide a quick update of what's going on in Macomb County in terms of infrastructure updates, projects that are coming up, some community engagement stuff. So appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak to you today. So to start, Consumers Energy, we are the natural gas provider here in Macomb County. We serve roughly 305,000 residents as well as businesses in Macomb County, not the entire county, just the 14 municipalities that are listed here. So we are looking at a lot of gas investments, and particularly not only throughout the whole company, but we're looking at investments heavily in Macomb County, and that's because of the amount of infrastructure that we have here. We have a lot of infrastructure, a lot of customers that we need to serve with safe and reliable gas. So our company has pledged achieve net zero methane emissions from our entire natural gas production and delivery system, and that includes modernizing our gas system. So like I said, we're focused on Macomb County and replacing those vintage pipelines. A lot of those have been there since the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. So they are susceptible to a lot of corrosion, gas leaks, which lead to methane emissions. I'll skip over that. So natural gas projects. Like I said, we're making large investments here in Macomb County to reduce those methane emissions. So currently, Consumers Energy has 2 primary types of natural gas projects that are happening in the coming years. The first is called a grid project. So when we think about natural gas pipeline, I think about it in roads. So like a highway would be our transmission pipeline that carries a lot of heavy traffic, a lot of large volumes of gas. Distribution pipelines are like your mile roads, so a little bit smaller, but still heavy traffic. And then your service lines are like a driveway. So those service lines go up to the customer's home and to their meter. So with these grid projects, what we're doing is we're upgrading those distribution pipelines, so essentially those mile road pipelines. And we're also updating the gas service lines that feed the meters to customers' homes. So this requires us to be in communities. They are disruptive projects. We try to minimize that disruption as much as possible by working in a grid format, so kind of like east and west. And so that's essentially what we're doing in the communities that are listed here in 2026 and 27. So Clinton Township, East Point, Mount Clemens, Roseville, and City of Warren will be experiencing these grid projects in the next 2 years. The next type of natural gas project that we have is our high-pressure transmission pipeline project. So like I said, the high-pressure transmission pipelines are like your I-75. They carry a large amount of gas, many times interstate. So keeping these pipelines healthy and safe is extremely critical to our natural gas delivery system. So a lot of times these pipelines, as shown on the photo, they're 24-inch coated steel pipeline, sorry. And so that requires a lot of digging. These are typically 6 feet in the ground. They are highly disruptive projects. They have a higher impact, so communities are going to see us out digging. They're going to see a lot of heavy equipment. And the communities that are going to be experiencing these in 2026 and 27, City of Centerline, Clinton Township, Macomb Township, St. Clair Shores, and the City of Warren. Our largest transmission pipeline project coming up is our Four Cities Metro Pipeline Project. This is a $182 million investment that is taking place between now and we expect completion by the year 2029. So you can see on the map here, Four Cities is named because of the 4 cities that it impacts. Royal Oak, Clawson, Madison Heights, and the City of Warren. So the City of Warren in 2027, they're going to be experiencing this transmission pipeline project along DeQuinder Road. So this transmission pipeline, it's 24-inch large pipeline, is going to be going in the median of DeQuinder. So this is going to, of course, cause some lane closures. It requires a lot of coordination between the City of Warren and Madison Heights, the Road Commission, of course. And we are working closely with those partners for this project. And then lastly, probably my most favorite part is community engagement. So when we have these large disruptive pipeline projects like the one I just mentioned with 4 cities, part of our plan for community engagement is to work directly with the communities to plan these family fun, free events. So a lot of times they include free food, family activities, but most importantly, we're providing information on the projects that are happening. So we have our crews available. We invite all of our customers who are being impacted by this project to come to interact with our crews. They have the opportunity to ask questions, get more information on the project, exact timelines. A lot of people come with concerns, and we're there to answer those concerns and address any questions that they might have. We had a really successful one last year in the City of Warren. We had like 800 community members come out, and they were able to interact with our crews, and a lot of them left happy with the work that we were doing. And then in terms of investment, our Consumers Energy Foundation and corporate giving departments, in the last 5 years alone, we've invested over $1 million here in Macomb County between nonprofits and different Macomb County communities. Most notably and exciting is the Planet Awards. So since 2021, we've granted $750,000 in grants through our Planet Award, and that included the Green Macomb Initiative here in Macomb County, Six Rivers Land Conservancy for their Monarch Meadows project happening in Chesterfield Township, and then this year we granted $250,000 to the City of East Point for their sustainability efforts. So we are very busy at Consumers. We're going to continue making those investments and infrastructure upgrades so we can continue to provide Macomb County with safe and reliable gas, as well as support the community that we're in. That is a quick update. Any questions? Yes.
No questions. Wait a minute, excuse me. Yes, we do. Commissioner Howard.
Hey, the Warren project or the Warren event was great. There's, as you mentioned, a lot of participation. I heard amazing things about it. My question is on the Four Cities project. It starts at 696 and goes north. You guys not have pipes south of 696, or why did you guys start at 696 and go north?
Yeah, it's this particular transmission. We do have pipe, and we will be working in the City of Centerline. That's a separate project, so we do have transmission pipeline. It's this is like a separate connector. So that particular transmission line that feeds certain regulator stations is just along that particular route. There is a separate transmission pipeline it'll be less intrusive, happening in the city of Centerline, I believe in 2028.
Okay, because on the map, it looked like the project was on DeQuinder,
Correct.
and it starts at 696 in DeQuinder. So south of that is still in Warren.
Yeah, you're correct. It'll be like mostly Centerline and on up to the city of Warren, but it's a separate transmission pipeline.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Commissioner Gorky?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the update. I got a few questions. So it looks like we're going to have to be starting to replace everything pre-plastic. So pre-1970s when plastic became into this stuff. And then you're using smart pig technology to look at the wear and the corrosiveness on the transmission lines, on how they're all holding up and stuff. And then the $50 million question for me at the north end is that we have any major things going on at the Ray compressor station, which feeds gas to everybody. They buy gas cheap all summer, pump it up to us in the north end, and then it's pumped in a great big salt formation that's down 5,000 feet, and then it's compressed out to the rest of the state in our area. But we've had issues, back and forth. Is there anything going to be going on there?
There are some upgrades that are happening at the Ray compressor station right now. They're decommissioning some of our old buildings. That's really the major thing that's happening. So there's not anything in terms of, there's your typical annual well maintenance. So you'll see flaring that happens out there. We have venting activities that happen out there as all part of just regular annual maintenance. Outside of the decommissioning of the old compressor buildings, there's nothing major that's happening.
So my biggest point is because we had big problems a few years ago when we put new compressors in and it was vibrating everything in the basements of the houses a mile away and everything. That's my biggest concern. If you're decommissioning, are them old engines being replaced with modern ones being they're decommissioned, or it's just the buildings?
Well, yeah, so the buildings are completely decommissioned, and then the new engines, they're actually already up and running. So we have had concerns from residents and neighbors out at the Ray compressor station in terms of vibrations. We've been doing some sound studies on like when that is happening. Is that part of the dehydration process? Because those engines, thousands of horsepower engines, are creating vibrations. So we are looking into that. Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, well, the last solution is they had to add iron on the spiral on the stacks going up, and it actually decreased it. But it's just, it's a concern for them, and it's my district, so that's why I'm asking.
No, I understand. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Lucido?
For your grid projects, do you have maps available on what streets will be affected by the projects?
We do, yes. So as soon as those projects, what we do is we notify customers typically 6 to 8 weeks in advance with a letter to their home. But we absolutely have maps available, so I'm happy to share those with exactly what streets are impacted, because it's not the entire city. It's just certain streets.
Yeah, I know, like my street did a few years ago, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Sabatini?
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Great to see you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I know we connected at an event and we were talking about you coming out, so I'm glad that you're here today. Just kind of like follow up too. I know a lot of these projects are in a number of our districts. Could you just keep us kind of in the loop too with our office, just so that we get a lot of questions here at the office, and it's always good to have the information, so we can pass it on to commissioners as well, so they can keep their residents updated. So that would be great.
Happy to do that.
Great to see you.
Absolutely.
Thanks so
Yep.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Second round, Commissioner Gorky?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I forgot one question I had wrote down. Is it still working in, with the engineering department, working closely with our road departments so that you're doing these projects before major money is being spent on the roads? We passed that in law a few years back, but I see, things change. So do we have a working relationship with Mr. Santo back there?
Yes. There is. Yeah, we do work hard. Our engineers work hard. This is why we plan well in advance, and we communicate that with all of the planning departments within each municipality, because I know that in the past, even before I started, we've run into those issues where we've come through with pipeline torn up
Well,
a
they
road
fix
that
the
was
road
just
and then come
done.
back and
Yeah,
tear it up. That's the
exactly.
problem.
So we work very hard to avoid anything like that. And we work in partnership a lot of times. Civic projects are what we call them. So we work with municipalities to get those civic projects done, which are led by the city and asked of us to.
Okay,
to
thank
move
you.
pipeline.
I'm sorry I had to ask
you.
twice, but I thought that was important.
Yep, good question.
No other questions? Thank you, Laura,
Yep.
very much.
Thank you.
Item 6B, Automation Alley update, the impact that'll be in Macomb County. Tom Kelly?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jeff Schrader from Planning and Economic Development. I'm the Deputy Director. I've been asked to come here on behalf of Vicki Rowinski, who was not able to attend today. She and most of our economic development staff are in Lansing at the MEDA Economic Development Conference. But today we have 4 of our key partners in economic development and community development here to provide you with some brief updates as to the services that they're providing, their programs, and how they interface with the county. I'll be happy to try to answer any of your questions after their presentations. Thank you.
Chairman Sabatini, Board Commissioners, thank you. It's nice to be back with you this year. I know I enjoy my time and especially talking about advanced manufacturing. But I'll be brief today. The major highlight I want to impress upon you is this year, Automation Alley surpassed 500 members that are in Macomb County. So 1/3, 35% of all manufacturers in Macomb County are now members of Automation Alley. And that's a fantastic stat. That means we're like a library for advanced manufacturing. That means your community is really interested in learning about all of this digital transformation that we focus every day on. Some real brief highlights, about $2.8 million in capital investment to 85 small manufacturers we've made. That is direct capital infusion into those businesses. We facilitated over $11 million of defense revenue through TACOM and GVSC. And 47% of trade missions include Macomb County small manufacturers. We'd love that number to be 100%. So tell all your manufacturers, it's literally, we take you on a trip and we get you contracts. It's just that, literally, that's the way it goes. So the more we could do, the better. There is another stat I want to bring up. And that is that you're all aware of Project Diamond and how proud we are of Project Diamond. This is where we bought and distributed 3D printers to small manufacturers and stitched them onto a network. We've been doing this for multiple years. This year, we just announced in a press release, we have surpassed 50,000 3D print jobs on the network. That is a staggering sum of 3D printed. And a print job may not be one part. It may be many parts that are stacked up on the platen that are being built. So we just announced that we've surpassed 50,000 prints. And Macomb County members that are part of Project Diamond are reaping the rewards. And I think what's more relevant is almost all of the manufacturers that we picked in partnership with economic development, they told us who gets the printers. We gave them to people that didn't have 3D print experience at all. That was the point of the project, was to give it to manufacturers that maybe know how to do machining, or our injection molders, or our forgers, or all the traditional manufacturing that we do. And to see them embrace this new technology, I think is just a wonderful thing to see, and something we can all be very proud of. Next slide, if we talk about storytelling in Macomb, we work very hard to tell stories. We want to drive sales to manufacturers, and specifically to small manufacturers. We have 4,000 members at Automation Alley. 70 of them are large and provide a significant source of funding to us. 3,930 are smalls, and that's by design. And we want the smalls to be able to get the information they need. And so we spend a lot of time and money telling their stories. And these are the stories that we highlighted in the last year in Macomb County. These companies, and some of them are bigger. We did the GM Tech Center because that had national implications in the U.S. Army Garrison and some of those. But we try to tell the small business stories as best we can. And the last thing I'll say is JP Rea is on not just our board of directors, he's on our executive council. So Macomb is at the table driving our vision and our strategy every single day. And we're delighted to have him. And from our inception in 1999, Macomb has been a partner, and I see that continuing for a long time if you'll have us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. No speakers? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 6C, Michigan Auto. We have today, I believe, is Glenn, right?
Yes, yes.
Give us an update, please.
You got it. Thank you to the chair and the commissioners. Thanks for having us again. What I'm going to do is give you a little context about what we do, and many of you have seen it before, but kind of wind up with some of the things we're working on specifically in Macomb County. And since this is the first presentation I've given in a long time, it is not just about tariffs. It's very refreshing to be here. That has been a topic du jour. MichAuto's been around for quite some time now. Our focus is very unique because there isn't an association like us in the state. We're made up of a very big tent of stakeholders, everyone from General Motors to Macomb County to Macomb Community Colleges and different types and shapes of companies around the state. It makes us a unique voice, and it makes us a collective voice, particularly when we go to Lansing and talk about the industry. I won't go through the history here of the timeline. A lot of this is background for you to have in your decks. But our focus is really on advocacy for the industry, mostly here locally and in Lansing, but we have gotten into a lot of federal issues for obvious reasons. Number one, though, is the talent pipeline, which I'll talk about, and then also helping our state and this particular county and region prepare for the transition that it's going through. And that is another big focus for us. We do a lot of advocacy work. One of the things that I just would call attention to is we serve as the back office for the Auto Caucus, which is a bipartisan, bicameral group of legislators in Lansing that makes up a body for the state's auto industry in Lansing. Most specifically, I think that's a benefit to companies here is the new R&D tax credit that we worked on. So companies in Macomb County can qualify for up to $2 million of R&D tax credit now. That did not exist. We were one of a few states that did not have that, but we have that now for industries in Michigan. Our talent programs are really focused in three areas, which I'll get back to in a second, and that's in the robotics space, connecting young people with what goes on in the facilities, not just auto, but defense as well, which is particular to your region, and then also communicating with them about what the career paths are. So we're very focused like a laser on those three things. We do a lot of work on what's going on with the industry transition with regards to positioning, and I'm going to come back to that too. I mentioned that Macomb slide specifically in a second. Our board I put up here because it's very important to show that it's very diverse from a size of company, geography. Vicki for your county does serve from the planning, economic planning. She serves and has been on our board for quite some time and is a very active member. So specific to Macomb very quickly, I'm going to go through these six real quickly, but on the left top, your robotics zone is really kind of a benchmark for the state. So we work with not just FIRST Robotics, but specifically Square One Robotics. Square One Robotics tends to serve both rural and urban that are more underserved communities and don't have the resources in the school system, so we work with them too. The Velocity Center is very important because startup innovation is what drives everything. The auto industry was built on startup innovation, so some of the ideas that are coming out of places like Velocity are very important, so we have a great relationship with them. Going Pro, I think you've heard before. That is really a fund that the state has primarily for skilled trades. Your works department here in Macomb is very active with that, but we don't have enough funding into that for skilled trades. I know that it probably sounds like a broken record about skilled trades, but we're still not moving the needle. And there are very few jobs, entry level in a factory or an R&D center, that are not skilled. Because of the digital interface, there's a lot more automation, so people need certifications to advance their careers, and that program comes in very handy. We are doing roundtables in the different counties. We've got one coming up with Macomb County where we will invite 20 or 30 of your companies to a roundtable. We just did one in Oakland County 2 weeks ago, so that's something we're starting up here. And I think very specific to your region is the Macomb County Engine, or the Romeo Engine Task Force. This has been a facility that we collectively, many resources, including the Detroit Regional Partnership, have been focused on, and we are all focused on that like a laser. Now is probably as opportune a time as we look at reshoring of manufacturing that's potentially happening, so we're very optimistic about that facility. And then we're also launching a competitiveness roundtable, which will be statewide, which Macomb will be involved with. So I wanted to give you a sense for what we do. We appreciate your support. We can't do it without you. And with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them, but thank you.
Commissioner Hall?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for all you do. You had mentioned earlier about the transition in the state and Macomb County, what we're going through. Could you elaborate on that more?
Yeah, so we focused really on 4 core technologies that have been kind of up in front of us for a few years now. And we use the acronym CASE. So there's connected vehicle technology. Your road command nerve center here is a perfect example of the connected technologies that the auto industry is going in. And that's the interface of the vehicle with infrastructure. So connected is one. So there's a huge transition going on with the vehicle and infrastructure. Automation is another. We're real familiar with autonomous vehicles, but there's autonomous vehicles right in Sterling Heights assembly plant. So automation and automated vehicles is another huge transition. Then we have shared technologies. You're familiar with Uber and Lyft, but that is a shared technology where people can access, communicate, and get ride sharing. But there's other forms of shared technology too. Even the microbus transit systems, that's shared use technology. And then the last one is the big one that gets all the press, and that's electrification, the E in CASE. And so that has been a very interesting journey. It did get ahead of itself, but make no mistake, electrification is happening. It's going to continue to happen. It's just going to happen at a slower pace. So those transition issues are the issues that we're trying to help lead the state and your region too.
Thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Goyke?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I represent District 1, which the Romeo engine plant is in. Can you elaborate? Do we have any fish on the line, or is Ford gonna, the rumor is Ford might be starting to make engines there again. Is that any truth to that?
Well, I can't confirm that last rumor. I'd love to be able to do that. I think I'd get in a lot of trouble. But because of that slowdown in that transition to electrification, and because of the reshoring of manufacturing, that's why I made the comment. I think we're in probably a good position as we are for Romeo than we probably were last year or certainly the years before. It's been all hands on deck, and credit to JP and Vicky and the team here because they have been relentless. In Rep McCain's team, I mean, everybody's been on deck on this thing. So I wish I could tell you more than that, other than people are optimistic.
Well, you know what they say about wishing? Wish in one hand and do something in the other. Just tell me the truth. Thank you.
No other speakers? Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Jeff? Is Jeff here shorter? Yes. Yes.
Well, I guess the
Give us an
rumor's true.
update, please, on planning? An update.
An update on what element of planning, sir?
Pardon?
What element of planning would you like
Everything.
an update on? We're doing everything. We are working with our partners. We are working, I will not be able to give you the in-depth on the economic development side because that's not my side of the house, but I can tell you in terms of the other things that we are very much engaged in, our community development program has just opened up new housing down in East Point. We are working with a number of potential brownfield redevelopments within the county. We have 2 communities we're working with on parks and recreation plans. We have just signed off in terms of farmland preservation. We're going to be bringing another farm into the preservation cycle later this fall. We just put our paperwork in with the state for that. And got a team of 36 people downstairs that are doing everything they can to make Macomb County a better place to live, work, and play.
Any questions, any commissioners? Thank you very much. Item 6D, Detroit Regional Partnership.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the time today. I appreciate it. Great to be back in Macomb County. I grew up in Clinton Township, but spent 9 years working on the 7th floor for planning and economic development. So the work here in Macomb County is really important to myself, but also the partnership. Like Glenn, I'm going to share a little bit about who we are and what we do just to orient you, and then I'll talk about the specific activities we're working with the planning and economic development team, but larger Macomb County team with as well. So we were formed in 2019 to do a few basic things. Really, we're the agency that really is out there globally trying to raise awareness about the great opportunities that exist across this 11-county region that we represent, to work to find companies that are considering investing in the United States, try to understand if they're willing, right, to consider the Detroit region, get ourselves on the list, and then ultimately, right, serve as their customer service agent to really understand the assets and benefits of investing and creating jobs in the Detroit region. So our core mission is about job creation. Our goal 2020 through 2030 is create 50,000 new jobs for the residents of Southeast Michigan, and that's what we wake up every day to do, working to bring in really the next generation of companies, technologies, and jobs for our residents here to both retain, right, the great talent we have here, but also help attract new talent into our state and region. So you can see the 50,000 new jobs. In addition to that, we're working to attract $10 billion in new investment. We are 5 years to that goal, and we are actually above target on that. So, you know, a lot of success from working together as a unified team and doing this work. We wake up every day really guided by 4 principles as we go about this work. So robust growth, right? We want to create more jobs for this region than would have happened if we did not exist, and that's why we're here. But really, we're working to attract jobs across the spectrum, right? Entry-level skills to PhD candidates, right? We want to help bring opportunities to meet our residents where they're at, and then create opportunities of a ladder opportunity to, right, progress, receive good pay, good benefits to really support families. That's where deep prosperity comes in, right? Trying to create those opportunities for people to move up the ladder. And then ultimately, we're really serious about trying to deliver impact to all 11 counties of this region that we serve. These are the industry clusters we operate in primarily. You work a lot with Glenn and with Automation Alley in both mobility and advanced manufacturing, but there's a lot of other places and assets we have across a number of industries that we're highly competitive in that sometimes our communities don't fully understand. And that's our job, is to build the business case and take that out globally. You can see the team there today. Really, you know, what we do though is, as I said, we work to go around the globe, raise awareness about the Detroit region, understand who's willing to consider the United States, our region, and ultimately, again, serve as that customer service agency in doing that work. We also have taken on some new work, obstacles essentially to advancing growth here. One is advancing industrial site readiness. You know, when a company is interested in growth, they ultimately need to have a location that can meet their timeline. And if they can't, they're going to move on. And so we have a program we've built to really work with communities to look at sites and assess those sites across, you know, utilities, zoning, kind of interest of what the community wants to see there, what the owner wants to see there. And we really document those findings and understand the process and timeline to get a facility built on that. And so I'll talk about what we've invested in Macomb County over the last 12 months in that work. And then our global epicenter mobility, it's an effort to really working with MichAuto really to raise awareness about not just light vehicles, right? But this is defense, this is aerospace, other types of mobility that we are competitive in, because, right, those companies are ultimately looking for advanced manufacturing jobs, engineering jobs, R&D jobs. So whether that's for passenger vehicles or other forms of mobility, we believe we really are the best location globally for those type of companies to invest. On the VIP program, that Verified Industrial Properties program I mentioned, we raised $17 million through the federal level Economic Development Administration, as well as through the Michigan legislator. And what we're doing is working with Macomb County to identify sites across all communities that present an opportunity for either as a brownfield or greenfield for future manufacturing opportunities. And then we co-invest with the communities and owners in those sites to get them more ready for projects. And so to date, worked on 86 sites in 58 communities across the 11-county region, helping get 8,000 acres more ready for projects. And I'll talk again in a moment about Macomb County specifically. I think importantly, we went out to the people making these investment decisions, right, the corporates and the site location consultants, and asked them, what do you need to make a decision? And essentially that's what the program funds. So we fund the geotechnical work on those sites, survey work, utility work, understanding community permitting and approval processes, wetland delineations, right, kind of the 101 things necessary to make a site ready. On the global epicenter mobility, I think the piece that's most relevant maybe for folks here in Macomb County is we really are trying to be essentially what we'd call the think tank for Southeast Michigan in terms of where is future growth at and how do communities position themselves for that growth. And so we launched a new series called Road to 2030. Every 2 months, we essentially release a new module that really projects what global growth looks like and how we position ourselves for that. We do webinars, we release PowerPoint presentations, kind of trends on what's happening, all to make, your communities and really planning and economic development smarter about where they target their resources for growth. In terms of impact, I mentioned earlier, our goal is $10 billion investment and 50,000 new jobs. Through 5 years, we're actually almost to $10 billion in investment. And we've helped create, in partnership with Macomb County and the other 11 counties we work with, almost 36,000 new jobs for the region. This is essentially what it looks like, right? I mean, we travel globally. In fact, we've done 300 trade missions over the last 5 years to, Asia, Europe, United States, to really meet with companies one-on-one to help them understand the assets in our communities, get them interested, and ultimately, right, work to get them on the ground to see what's happening and hopefully execute investment here across Southeast Michigan. The dots here represent the projects we've secured. So we've helped bring 121 global companies and domestic companies into Southeast Michigan. You can see the greatest density, those do sit in Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne. It is the heart of the region. It's where a lot of that investment goes, but you will see some sitting on the outside side as well. But a lot of wins for Macomb County, and all of those are done in conjunction with planning and economic development as well as the local communities where they land. We make sure that's a team and a holistic approach. Everybody's involved in executing these projects. I won't walk through all of these, but these are the specific projects, right, that have landed in Macomb County kind of over the last 5 years. And, that totals almost $365 million in investment and, almost 800 new jobs in Macomb County through the combined work of the DRP and planning and economic development. And then just some recent things to call out. Your team has traveled with us globally. So across 7 domestic and international markets we've traveled to over the last 18 months. So, right, we do this together. We go out and represent this region as a team. And so we plan those trips, and much like Automation Alley does, you guys join us, right, as part of that cohort representing here. Also locally around key trade shows and conferences, we also plan call strategies in meetings with companies. So a couple big ones coming up are the Battery Show. That's in October here in Michigan. It's the North American Battery Show, is a big deal. And then Automate, which is around advanced manufacturing. We've helped Macomb County actually directly submit sites to 45 projects this year. And so we work really in finding the best real estate to meet the needs of these projects, and we, on your behalf, submit those. We've actually put $400,000 in the last 12 months into sites in Macomb County, helping them get more ready as well. And we're really recently helped a German company partner and procure a local recycling company that they're investing to. So that's a recent win, and we have 2 other projects that are close to closing in Macomb County that will net another 500 new jobs and $200 million in investment that are expected to close in the next 6 months. So ongoing opportunities in the pipeline as well. I think, maybe the last notable piece here is defense is obviously really important for Macomb County and is, I think the anchor for the Southeast Michigan region in terms of, both the the arsenal that's here, right? The Detroit Arsenal as well as Selfridge, but the many suppliers that supply the DoD as well. And so we've been working with Wayne, Oakland, Macomb counties to figure out what can we do to further support that. And so we've together put in some resources to really make sure we're ramping up our work in this area. And we'll be launching something called the Detroit Regional Defense Coalition. And the goal there is to really make sure we're in DC talking to appropriators, right, and the DoD directly about opportunities here in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties, and making sure we're bringing more investment from the DoD back here to Macomb County. So we're excited to be one of the team that's supporting that effort. I think that concludes, and I'm here on behalf of our CEO, Maureen Krause. I'm the Chief Program Officer, but I'm happy to address any questions if you have them.
Commissioner Howard.
Hey, thanks for your presentation. I have two questions, and if they're not related to what you do, just let me know. They're kind of in the weeds. One of them is around zone ordinances. I own a business, I've talked to other business owners, and even I understand you deal with more larger companies, but zoning ordinances is sometimes prohibitive for businesses that make sense for a certain area. Do you do any partnerships with local municipalities to help them fix their outdated zoning ordinance? Because sometimes those zoning ordinances are older than kin.
Yeah, so that, it wasn't something we're formed to do, but in fact, we're working on what we call the Industrial Site Readiness Playbook. We actually just launched. And the whole objective of that is first help communities understand what modern manufacturing is, right? The type of jobs, what those buildings look like, what the operations look like, so they're more informed, but then help bring some new tools to the table, including one of the things we'll be working on is a new sample ordinance to really support what modern manufacturing is and bring that to communities that they can choose to adopt or not. But we want to make sure really communities understand, right, not what these things were 40, 50 years ago, but what they look like today and how they best position themselves should they be interested to capitalize on those opportunities. So absolutely, that is something in process.
Okay, last question, and this one might be even more unique. Whenever you're looking at a property or something, one of the first things that you see is the number of residents that live around, the street traffic. I know the census is a far away, but typically there's a relatively low participation in regards to the census. And I feel like partnerships like you guys, if there's an effort to drive people's responding to the census so we can see, because I've seen like the 5.4 million residents that you have marked in this area. You can go online or you can try to find numbers from other partners that number is 5 million or it's 7 million, it's 8 million, and there's such a wide range. And I can imagine a major corporation wants to know like effectively how many people to gauge the workforce. I just think working on the census or helping in whatever way, shape, or form could help drive and attract more businesses. And that's something that the mayor of Detroit's actively doing, is trying to drive that census of Detroit.
Yeah, it's not something we've historically been involved in over the last 5 years, right? We were just formed as the last census was completed, but I think it's certainly something we could help promote. I do know the Detroit Regional Chamber last time around, Sandy Barua there was a kind of advocate and educator of that opportunity. But yeah, I think we'd be happy to explore right as we move to the next census how we can support that. We do take a serious responsibility though of trying to understand how many residents and workers are here so we can accurately represent that. So we have a 5-person research team that does work on those type of things full time on behalf of our communities.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thanks, Chair.
Commissioner Hall, please.
Thank you, Chair. First, congratulations on all that you do. The successes speak for themselves. Did I hear you say your funding sources are primarily from the federal government and the state government?
Actually, so our core economic development program funding is 5% public partners, including the Macomb County support. And then we use that to go raise 95% of our primary funding from large corporates and philanthropic entities. The 2 new programs that we launched, that Industrial Site Readiness Program and the Global Epicenter Mobility Program, that was a federal grant opportunity that we led on behalf of the Detroit region. We secured $52 million 3 years ago under the Biden administration. We have a small portion of that, but we funded 24 other nonprofits to kind of really better position ourselves to continue to win in future mobility. So, there is a set of programs funded largely through federal. That funding sunsets May of 2027 for us, and we will return to our more stable model of really corporate giving as the primary giver. But again, we appreciate the anchor support of the governments as well.
And secondly, what would you say is the number one attribute to attract global businesses to Macomb County?
Yeah, I mean, it's talent, number one, all day long, right? Both in terms of the volume of people, right, Macomb County has, and the skill sets that they have in manufacturing, in engineering, and in R&D, right? So it's the full spectrum of how to design, engineer, and make not just cars, but lots of different things, right? And that's really what I think global companies respond to as we talk to them. There's a lot of other assets from quality of life, supportive governments, a good, economic development toolkit, but it's really the talent story that resonates and why folks come here and land here.
Thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. No other speakers? Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Item 6E, Advancing Macomb. Phil?
Good afternoon. I'm here today to share a little bit of an update on the services that we have been providing at Advancing Macomb to nonprofits and communities here in the county. I'm joined today by my colleague, Megan Rutigliano, a program manager who's been working closely on our Nonprofit Accelerator program and now our Nonprofit Roundtable program. And a little bit by happenstance, our vice chair of our board, Lauren Brosh, who's also in the audience at this point. Thank you both for being here. So much of the work that we're doing under our agreement with the county government is in resource navigation and technical assistance. It was a total of 28 new consultations in the first portion of this year. That's individual organizations or governments. There were a couple of libraries that were included there, primarily nonprofit organizations who come to us seeking some assistance with challenges that they're facing. We had a total of 14 different requests that were focused on grant seeking and fundraising. We had 9 requests on nonprofit formation and structure, another dozen requests on community outreach and related sorts of programming, and other assorted requests around infrastructure and operations, volunteer recruitment and management, and other nonprofit related topics. As you can see illustrated in this chart. So our educational programming that supports some of our resource navigation and technical assistance takes place in a couple of different primary modalities, I'll say. One of those is through coaching and ongoing engagements. As it stands, we have one nonprofit client who is doing some planning around fundraising and fund development that we have been supporting them through this journey and helping to advise and guide them as they create a full-on development plan to guide their fundraising efforts this year and in future years. Additionally, we are doing through our Nonprofit Roundtable program, which is a free regular opportunity for nonprofits to come together for a little bit of networking and educational attainment. Just today, we hosted a storytelling workshop with Rup Raj from Fox 2 News. It was a really great engagement that we held right at the Mount Clemens Public Library, totally free for nonprofit participants, and we had about 37 people in the audience. There are 3 additional sessions, which you'll see on the screen here, coming up in October and November, which will be releasing some, I think Kyle handed out a flyer to you with some of those details. You're all welcome to join us for any of those sessions if you choose. A big part of this year's agreement is the Community Impact Fund, which was first put forth by Executive Hackle at the State of the County address, as you all may remember. Rather than being a fund of actual cash money dollars, what it really represents is investment in Macomb County initiatives, areas of interest, and areas of need here in the county. You can see here that we've been able to leverage some additional investments based on the investment that Macomb County has made with us, including through our resource navigation and technical assistance work, where we've been able to secure an additional sponsorship for some support for another organization. our nonprofit accelerator program, which has leveraged an additional $175,000 in investment from the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan, and the Four County Community Foundation. That is just this year's investment. The Wilson Foundation has been supporting us with about $100,000 a year for that program through 2027. Our capacity building grant program, which was brand new this year and a great opportunity for us to be able to get dollars into the hands of nonprofits for staff development, professional development, equipment, expanding their services, or making infrastructure improvements to their own organizations so that they may better serve the public and be more impactful in their communities and in their missions. That was an inaugural program for us, and I'm looking forward to seeing that we can raise some additional funding in future years to continue that and help nonprofits continue building their capacity to serve the public. Our Community Engagement Summit, which is also coming up in just a few weeks here, which you also received some information about today. This year, that program will be hosting our keynote speaker, Nicole Sherrard-Freeman, the president and CEO from the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan, as well as Salvador Salor-Pons, the director and CEO of the Detroit Institute of Arts, who will be talking about collaboration in their efforts across not just Macomb County, but in the Tri-County area. We've been able to leverage some additional sponsorship investment through that program. Additionally, we are a fiscal sponsor for a project that the county is intimately involved in to build a new bridge, a pedestrian bridge over the Clinton River Spillway. We've been able to receive the funding from the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation for that particular project, as they do not make grants to governments, but we're paying that out on behalf of the project and looking forward to seeing more of this work getting underway. Finally, something that is still kind of in discussions in an exploratory phase are some expansions and connections of Macomb County bike paths through Mount Clemens from Clinton Township and Harrison Township northward. There's no actual real plan for that yet. We're still seeking some money that can help us pay for the planning efforts, and that is contingent on receipt of additional grant funding. The total additional investments, as I've tabulated here, are just about a little less than $1.3 million. Key update on our nonprofit accelerator program. Just a couple of months ago, we graduated, if you will, our first class of organizations that participated in that boot camp style initiative. Organizations were really put through the paces of what makes a nonprofit operate well and sustainably. They came out the other side of it with a lot of additional knowledge about how they can work better in their organizations to benefit their communities. We just closed the application period for our second cohort, and we will be reviewing those and making admissions determinations here over the next couple of weeks, and that next cohort is slated to begin at the end of September. We're aiming for 10 total organizations with up to 2 participants from each organization. The target nonprofits for that program are really smaller nonprofits or newer nonprofits that have a lot to learn still about how to be effective. Our capacity building grant program, as I mentioned, allowed us an opportunity to invest $45,000 from Huntington National Bank with nonprofits who need some additional infrastructure development and support. This is a really unique sort of program here in Macomb County. As far as I'm aware, Advancing Macomb is the only organization that is really providing those kinds of dollars to nonprofits here for their benefit. I see it as something that's very valuable, and we'll be starting to see some of the results of that program rolling in here over the next month or six weeks or so. My goal is to raise some additional funding, probably very likely from the bank community, to continue that program in the upcoming year and see if we can't even get some additional funding to make more grants than the $45,000 that we made this year. We have a couple of new partnerships that we're developing, one of those with the Spalding for Children Foundation. We will be hosting a virtual community services fair in September over the course of 3 days that will showcase and highlight nonprofits that are providing services to the foster care community here in Macomb County. This is designed as a public resource and will be open to the public and free. We're recruiting participants to present during that program now, so if any of you happen to know nonprofits that are providing services that can benefit not just foster families or kinship care families, but the general family community in Macomb County, please feel free to send them our way. Additionally, we are continuing to develop a relationship with Velocity as we recognize that there's a lot of overlap in the types of things that their audience and our audience are really looking for. And while not everything that we're doing is exactly the same as what they're doing, we see some good opportunities for working together to advance our causes. That's all I have for you today. I'm happy to take any questions.
Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Phil. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I just want to thank Tom, Glenn, Justin, and obviously Phil for being here today. The reason that they're here, Commissioners, is that we appropriate funds during the budget process to these partners. So a lot of people ask, well, who are these during the budget process? So we're being a little bit more proactive to make sure that they're here before the budget starts, so you can hear exactly what they're doing for Macomb County specifically. And Jeff, thanks for rounding them all up to get them here today, which was a challenge of and of itself. So, but that being said, I've had some conversations with Phil directly and specifically with Advancing Macomb. This was a pilot program that we did with Advancing Macomb initially, and that investment went from $20,000 to $50,000 to $100,000. And then Commissioner Van Sickle was part of that initially too, with suggesting that relationship. So, Phil, I commend you. You've certainly grown this drastically, and obviously, our return on investment just based on what you provided us today is great. So, just want to give you a thumbs up and thank you Jeff for getting everyone here today.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gorky.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jeff, you said you were looking money for the bike paths and stuff, and just curious if you talked to our legislators to tap into the DNR Trust Fund. DNR Trust Fund is the receivables from all the oil and gas wells in the state of Michigan and on our property, and it goes into the trust fund for activities like this. So have you guys went down that route?
I would have to check with some of the folks that we're working with in the planning department to be sure, but I don't believe that we have. It's a great suggestion.
So we do not utilize that enough. So look into it. They're giving $1 billion almost a year. They're just working off the interest. So it's something that, third largest county in the state should be able to get some money out of it.
Sounds like a great opportunity.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. No other speakers? Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Item number 7.
Do we need to vote on 6?
Yes. Please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Now we'll go to item 7. Public Service Committee recommendations. We'll do A by itself. Budget Amendment, Planning and Economic Development, Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes and Energy, EGLE, Material Management Planning Program grant with $359,349. Jeff.
Thank you again.
Motion refer to board.
Support.
Before you today, asking for a budget amendment, we have received $359,349 from EGLE to put work together over the next 3 years to put together a materials management plan for Macomb County. The materials management plan is a replacement for the solid waste plan that we've traditionally had. New legislation took place over the last couple of years where they have created new standards for us to achieve in terms of recycling, engaging our community, education, and also working with our providers and our landfill coordinators. These dollars will be used for bringing on a consultant to help develop the plan, will be used for community education, and any other things that EGLE decides that they want to throw our way as they're deciding how this program is going to stand up, because we're still seeing regulations and things being put forward. So that's what's before you guys today. We're looking forward to being able to adapt that into the budgets. We'll have those for 2026.
Speakers, Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you. Good afternoon. You said this is the replacement for a previous plan.
Yes.
How did we do on the previous plan?
How did we do on the previous plan? I would say we've done well. We've been able to service 88,000 people, 800,000 people in Macomb County. We have one of the best providers in the state, a partner with waste management. But I can say that this new plan, if you're looking at the way this new plan is going to be judged, totally different metrics that we'll be looking to hit. In the past, they were just concerned Do you have capacity? Do you have a carrier? And how many years of capacity do you have at your sites that you're taking that to? This takes into account those things, but it's also looking at reducing the waste stream, pulling things out, getting things recyclables, being able to actually potentially generate revenues if a recyclable revenue stream can be built in the state of Michigan, which is one of the challenges across the state moving forward with this whole program.
Now, is the disposal site you're talking about the one on 29 Mile?
Yes, that would be Pine Tree Acres.
And what is the projected life of that?
At this time, I do not know. That's one of the things that we will be exploring as we pull this team together. Where we're at right now is we have created a committee. We have drafted bylaws. We've had our first meetings, but I believe there's still some things, some former things that need to be cleaned up in our house before we move forward with that. But we have a 3-year window to put this together. So those metrics will all be coming out. All those things will be discovered as we go through this process of building the new plan.
So this 359,000 plus is enough to cover you for the 3 years?
We believe it is, yes.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Hall?
Thank you, Chair. How do you go about finding a consultant for this?
It's a good question. There's a number of firms that have been working within the state of Michigan and in other states that are knowledgeable in the solid waste and recycling fields. It is going to be a challenge because these are all new regulations. It's new to everybody. So it's one of the things as we go and put out an RFP or a request for qualifications, we're going to have to be very precise on what we're looking for.
And Commissioner Van Sickle brought up Pine Tree. The last time they looked at closing that site, it was $99 million. That was going to bankrupt 3 communities. So I don't anticipate something like that happening again, but who knows?
Yeah.
And you're looking for a recyclable stream?
That's
to
what
be
the
profitable?
That's what the state is looking for with the solid waste legislation that's been put forth. They're looking to hopefully. The idea is to basically pull as much you can out of the waste stream so that not as much is going into the landfills. That's your food stuff, things that can be composted and that. But what that ecosystem looks like,
Right.
we don't know yet.
You've got your carriers, you've got your residents, you've got your industrial.
Right. And the biggest thing that we're seeing as we're attending some of the sessions that are being, so there's people who make recycling that's their main focus. What we're finding is that what we're hearing people saying is you can do all these things, but there has to be a market. There's got to be a place to take that recyclables. And that's what we're not seeing right now in the state or even nationwide right now. I'm by no means an expert in trash, but I have been tapped to it. So I have the feeling over the next 3 years, I'm going to become much, much more knowledgeable as we go. But from what I'm seeing right now, or what we're seeing as a group, great intentions, wonderful ideas, but maybe not the market is there for some of these things yet. So we'll see how it evolves.
Romano always says we're always happy to get grant money, but I definitely don't think this is enough. So good luck. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jeff, you said this is statewide. Does this affect every single county in the state?
All 83 counties are required to put together a plan. And they've been given, in some cases, for our more rural counties, they've been allowed to come together as coalitions if they want, if that makes more sense for economies of scale.
So in terms of, and if you don't know this, that's fine. So if in terms of funding, obviously our county is getting this amount. Is each county getting a specific
Everybody's
amount?
getting a base amount. I don't have the numbers. I can get them for you. But then there is also an addendum that's put on top based upon your population.
Okay.
So there's a base figure, and then additional dollars are coming into Macomb, looking at our 800,000 plus residents.
Okay. Well, at least initially, it's not an unfunded mandate. So thanks for that. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Van Sickle?
Do we still get Canadian trash in Michigan? And will these regulations affect that?
That's a great question. I honestly do not know. I know that under the old NAFTA, trash was considered a commodity and it was coming in, but I do not know what the new regulations are. That's definitely something that will be explored as we look at this plan, because it's been a concern for many years,
I'd
many
like to see it
people.
on your new agenda. Thank you. Thank you,
Certainly.
Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Zenner?
Thank you, Chair. In view of this, there is a machine that I've heard of that actually pulls, when they're trying to clear water, clean water, that they dry out the process as it's going through some kind of machine tubing thing. So it dehydrates. I don't know if, I live by the water, so I've heard all kinds of things. So I don't know if that will help you in some way eventually, but there is a dehydration, some kind of system. It isn't real huge that I know of, but it has been used by the water to, and then whatever dry product they have is a lot, you don't have all that water, you don't have that weight, you don't have it all, so it changes the whole idea.
I do know that, with our wastewater treatment plants that are in some of our communities, and also, the city of Gliwa, there are solids that come out of that. I know there's a dewatering process for that, which does reduce it, but then again, those are different types of waste, not just we're talking about residential wastes and that. Those are other things that go to different types of classes of landfills.
Good luck.
But thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Goyke?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is, if everybody wants to look it up, it's Public Act 3, or 115, PA 115. Pretty interesting. It gives smaller communities a little more time to implement it, the larger communities a little less time. And generally, a large company like Waste Management are looking to do stuff centralized, like in Wayne County, and then we're going to have hubs out for the recycling matters and stuff. So it's, like you said, at least it's not an unfunded mandate like Harold and Phil and I and Lisa would all know what we've been dealing with in the years past. It's, I've been recycling for a long time, and that's the whole thing is if there's money in it, it's going to be done by the private sector. And, just for instance, Great Lakes right here in Macomb, they used to do a lot of paper. Well, there was money in recycling paper. And then recently there hasn't been. So that's the challenges that's going to be all with this legislation to see where it goes. And I guess we look forward to trying to come up with compromises to make the state happy who passed this law. That's it.
Thank you. No other commissioners? We have a motion. Please vote. Thank you, Chris.
I can help you on that stuff, Barb, that
Thank you.
that you were talking about. I
Thank
know
you.
all about that.
Motion passes 12-0.
Item 7B and C will combine together, please. Need a motion?
So moved. Support.
Ryan?
Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Item 7B is seeking approval of a contract Michigan Department of Transportation for a project shared use path rehabilitation on the Clinton River Spillway Trail. Overall cost is $603,454. There are 80% federal funds involved with this project, so there's a 20% local match, which will be split between McDowell, us, and Clinton Township. So seeking approval of that project, or contract, I should say. And item 7C is a contract for Proline Asphalt Paving Corporation for Powell Road paving from 30.5 mile road to 32 mile road. That is currently a gravel road, seeking to pave that with asphalt with gravel shoulders. Total project amount for that is $4,590,538. That is a local road, so that would be a 60-40 split, 60% Washington Township, 40% Department of Roads. So seeking approval of that contract as laid out on 7C. So any questions?
Any questions? We have a motion. Excuse me.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Goyke?
Who's doing the engineering on that? Is it in-house engineering
For which project?
or the Powell Road?
That is in-house design, yes.
So we got, are we moving the ditches back farther on that road or?
We will have a 2-lane cross-section, which is 2 12-foot lanes. Not sure the shoulder width, probably 5 or 6 foot wide shoulders with associated ditches on each side. Yes. So that will be the cross-section of that roadway.
And when's the timeline on that one?
That would be this year, as far as that being constructed.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Zenner?
Thank you, Chair. I think most times you already have commitments. You said you didn't have, not commitments, but.
Cost share agreement?
Thank you. So do you expect to get that soon, I assume?
Yes, there's a cost share agreement for that with Clinton Township for that project, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
No other commissioners, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Item 8, correspondence, Macomb Work Zone Closure and Construction Updates. Need a motion, please?
Motion to receive and file.
Support.
By Grot, Van Sickle. Please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
I will now turn this meeting over to Public Safety.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda for public safety is department recommendations. The first item is budget amendment for circuit court programs, self-help center technology implementation grant, $10,000. I need a motion to move to full board.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Commissioner Wallace, support Commissioner Lucido. You can go ahead.
Good afternoon, I'm Linda Harrison, I'm the Deputy Court Administrator. The court applied for and received a grant for $10,000 to expand technology access in the Self-Help Center. What we are asking for is to add the budget amendment. The intent of the grant is to have accessible Zoom hearings for people that do not have access to remote hearings. And so we're installing 4 cubicles that allow private access for these hearings. And so all of the work is being done by county employees and it's purchasing new equipment.
Any speakers? Chair Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Where's this build out going to happen?
It's not a build out, it's the space between the elevator and the windows on the 3rd and 4th floor of the circuit court building. It was just empty space. There was just like a storage table in one of the spaces and nothing in the other.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. No other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Chair Romano would be very excited about a grant. Our next item is a budget amendment to the Sheriff's Department 2024 to 2027 Bryne Justice Assistant Grant of amount of $19,369. I need a motion to move to full board.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Hall, support Commissioner Van Sickle. Hey, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you, sir?
Good.
Jeff McPherson on behalf of the Sheriff's Office. Good afternoon. Just requesting approval for a budget amendment for the fiscal year 2025 to increase the Sheriff's Department calendar grant for the 2024 Burn JAG grant in the amount of $19,369. The grant funds are available from the federal government and will be used to purchase equipment for incident command, special response, and public events.
Any questions? I have a motion. We need a vote.
Boy, did you get off easy.
I'll wait till the next one, will be a little bit more.
Thanks, Captain.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you very much.
Item 10C, a budget amendment for the Juvenile Justice Center Communication System for a total of $101,620. I need a motion to,
Support.
I will, yes. I will also add 10D, a purchase of international controls and equipment, new communications sensor or system. Need a motion to move to board.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Wallace, support Commissioner Van Sickle. Hey, how are you doing today?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing me this afternoon. I thought maybe just a little tiny bit of history and then talk about the bid process and what our recommendation would be in this regard. So I'm here to request the approval of a bid to replace the existing communication intercom system in the Juvenile Justice Center. The current system is failing and has limited functionality. We actually had a couple vendors come in and look at it, and they're like, we can't even get access to the things that would be needed to repair a system, and it's just going down piece by piece by piece. So during this entire bid process, we're losing more functionality of the system. It's very outdated. We cannot get the parts to repair it. The system is required by licensing. Licensing requires that we have some form of two-way communication in every sleeping room. So sleeping rooms or rooms down in intake, there's a speaker where that resident has the ability to push that button and call for assistance. That rings into an area, we then are able to respond and or get into our radio system telling someone to get to that room right away. That's required by licensing. We have to have this system in place. It's right in the rules. One of the things that we were able to do with this replacement system is chop it down a little bit. So, for example, we had a system in place or have a system in place where 10 rooms go back to a substation, and if that substation isn't responded to, it then goes to our CCTV. What we're doing is eliminating those substations. So there would be 8 of them that we've eliminated. This ringing is going to go right back to our CCTV room, which is staffed 24 hours a day, every day of the week. There's no reason for that call to stop at the substation, particularly now that we're smaller. When the facility was originally built with 140 beds, it might have made more sense to do that. Another way that we reduce the system is the original intercom system had a function where there's speakers in all the ceilings, and you can do this all call through the whole building. That would not be part of this replacement. We now have upgraded to everyone having radios. We don't need an all-call system in the whole facility. So we were able to get the scope of services is for much less than what was in the features of that original system in the building. So we're able to do some savings there as well. But what we did is we did bid out the project. We did a pre-bid tour, and 12 companies showed up at that tour where we were able to show them firsthand what it is we needed so that there wasn't any confusion about that. After that pre-bid tour, of course, there was questions from those companies. We ended up getting 6 actual bids. The thing was they ranged anywhere from $101,000 to $315,000. This huge disparity in bids. So what we did is interview the 3 lowest bidders. And our F&O was involved in that project, and Joe is here if we have any questions for him today. We wanted to make sure that those lower bids had everything that we were asking for in the scope of this project. They did. Therefore, we're recommending the lowest bid. The company is International Control and Equipment. Their bid was $101,000. Not only the lowest bid, they included everything that we're asking for in this project. They are a local company. They've done previous work with Macomb County. And lastly, and the best thing is we do have the money in our budget. Now we need to transfer it from one line item in our non-reimbursable budget to another line item for capital. But the money is in the budget, so we wouldn't be asking for any money for this.
All right, our first speaker is Commissioner Lucido.
Thank you, Chair. So my question is, this is to cover the whole building.
No, the state is taking care of the other side of the building.
Okay, that was
This is
my-
to cover only our side
your
of the
side of the
building.
building.
Yes.
That was my question.
Yep,
Thank you very much.
yep.
Commissioner Quickie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is so that I like to be very, wise with cash and good bids. The all-call usually are put in for emergency management purposes.
Right.
Are we covered?
Yes.
So that the emergency management with this type was still going to be taking place?
Yeah, more than 20 years ago, when the system was put in place, that all-call was the emergency response system. We now have radios, the same ones that the sheriff's department has.
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that, but what about the people in the rooms? They don't all have the radios, do they? Or in that section?
You
That's
mean
what
if
I'm-
there was like an emergency requiring, our staff are going to get everybody out of their rooms. That all-call feature wasn't even in those rooms. The only thing in the rooms was the two-way communication.
Just so that we're in compliance.
Yep, absolutely. We are-
That's,
Yep.
because I don't want to do this and then come back next year and say, hey, you know what, we gotta put another added feature, so for
Nope,
emergency
it's an
management.
excellent question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Chair Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Rhonda.
Hi.
So in regards to this, so I know obviously the state has the other portion of the building. Did we reach out to them in regards to possibly partnering up on this deal?
No, they went ahead and did it. They had
just-
it done before we even knew it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they got in there. They had to put they put all new cameras in there and monitors, and the whole new intercom system. So they really got, I think they were really rushing to get kids in there too. So they hadn't approached us for anything like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like we use Petro Technologies as a consultant on this.
Yes.
As well.
Mhm.
Okay. How was that process with them and with just all the bid tabulations?
Okay,
Maybe
I'm gonna
Joe,
have,
you a better
Joe
idea
join
on
us.
that.
Am I asking too many questions?
Hi, Commissioners. Yeah, so Rhonda asked me to come in on this. I don't know how, if you know this, but I spent my first 15 years with the county working at the youth home. So Rhonda was actually my director before I went over to facilities.
And now
So I have a lot of history over there, right? So having said that, so Rhonda kind of brought me in on this. I was part of those bid, and we then brought Metro over as well. We kind of lean on them, as you know, for a lot of this, so they were very helpful during that process, during the post bids. And that there's another project that, of course, they've been working on as well that I'm sure will be in front of you shortly, but it's as far as the pricing there, it was really kind of an engineering conundrum, if you will, about there was a lot of ways to approach this project, and the company that this is being awarded to, let's see, they're a local company. Yep, ICE, International Controls and Equipment. You'll probably see their vans around, right? So I believe they're based in Clinton Township. Yep. So this company had a pretty unique approach where they were able to save the county money. And I really think it's going to work. And as Rhonda said, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. We got to do this. It's part of licensing. Kind of going back to that other topic too. Those radios. So when they first built this building, again, we're going back to 2004. Okay, so when this building was first put in, it was a much different time in juvenile justice. All right. And that doesn't only go with the court's approach and some other things, but that also goes with the tools that the staff used. And the big game changer here are these radios that Rhonda alluded to. This intercom system, what we need is if these kids are in a room with a secure door and they need help, then this is how they're going to get help, right? So they can hit that button. If they're unable to communicate and say to a staff, which these rooms are occupied and staffed 24/7, of course, right? Direct supervision. But if that child needs help, they can hit that button. And that's what this intercom system is very specifically for.
Got it. What other jobs has this company done for the county?
None. Well, that's not entirely true. They have not done any work for facilities directly.
Okay.
I can't speak to if they were indirectly involved with Metro or IT.
Yeah, during their interview, they had indicated they were involved in several projects.
Correct, yeah. I left, Commissioner, I left impressed. It was a good interview. Again, we did pretty extensive
So
post-bid interviews.
theoretically, they were subcontracted, probably from another bid that
Correct.
we had indirectly from another contractor.
Correct, yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you,
Yep.
Chair.
All right, Commissioner Perna.
Question. What's the capacity right now for juvenile?
30.
30.
30.
What's our residents now?
Today, there was 20. Yep. 3 weeks ago, there was 30. Tomorrow, there may be 27, so it's, 20 is the lowest we've seen in a while. I just wanted to elaborate on one other thing. Our fire system doesn't go through this system. So you ask about response to emergency. If the fire alarm were to go off, that's going to be alarming that whole building through a completely separate system. So just to add to your question.
Thank you.
Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. As you have alluded to, Commissioner Romano, it's state legislated. She's got the money. I think she's got to go. Thank you very much.
I just have one question. I saw on there is a warranty for labor, and you had expressed earlier that there was a issue with not being able to get parts for our current system. Is there a warranty on parts? Because I didn't see that. I could have missed it.
I'm sure it's in the scope. Let's see. That's not this. Let me look to the actual bid itself. I can't imagine there wouldn't be, but.
Yeah, typically
Yeah,
there's,
it's pretty standard.
In our packet, item 8 is warranty. It says 1 year labor, and then it's something written, but I can't quite read it.
okay.
MFR.
Manufacturing, that's manufacturer warranty. It's typically,
Oh, warrants. Okay, I couldn't read
Yeah.
the second word.
yeah, there's typically a manufacturer's warranty on this equipment.
Okay, so that is referencing the parts.
Yes, yes. I couldn't speak to, Commissioner, I couldn't tell you exactly what it is off the top of my head, but that's pretty standard.
Does that answer it or no?
I believe so. If you can follow up with,
Sure.
with our
Absolutely.
office, that'd be
Yep.
great.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. I assume these units are possibly plugged onto a base that's mounted on the wall or something?
They're gonna be inset into the wall, Commissioner.
I'm sorry, I can't.
They're gonna be inset into the wall.
Inset into the wall?
Yeah, these are correctional grade.
So it's steel.
They're going into a cell, yeah.
Yeah.
They're correctional grade. They're flat against the wall.
Well, what I was gonna ask is, was there any thought to buying an extra unit or the guts of the extra unit so that if one breaks, it can be swapped out immediately?
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
Well, it wasn't part of that scope of that project, but it certainly is probably something that they would provide if in fact we wanted.
You know, because if you have an extra one on the shelf, they won't break in the wall then.
Yeah, well, and that's actually a really good idea. We do oftentimes shelve material, but as Commissioner Howard's question, going back to that manufacturer warranty, anything that was damaged, we could have them come in. But after the fact, once those start expiring, that's always a great idea.
And the part of the system that became obsolete over time was the infrastructure of the system, not necessarily those push buttons on the wall. Those are pretty standard. Now, because the infrastructure is changing, they have to get those as well. But it was that infrastructure clear over in a wiring room with all this stuff that's basically receiving all that and sending it. That was the part of the system that failed on us and continues to fail on us. And,
Okay,
yeah.
So are they gonna have to run new lines for these?
Yes. Yes, they will. And that's where a lot of that cost comes from, as you can imagine. And that's why when we first alluded to this, the innovative way that ICE is approaching this, instead of running, for instance, individual lines for each intercom, right?
They're running to a
A
place. and
central
then-
bank,
Yes.
yeah. Correct. Yeah.
So in their quote, they were able to demonstrate how they're gonna be able to do this, and I think that's what kept that price down a little bit too.
Correct.
Good deal.
Yeah, good. These are, very confident in this company.
Yeah, we're excited to work with them. I think this will be a good thing. And again, going back to Metro was present, and they also expressed a lot of confidence in this company.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I see no further questions. I have a motion on the floor. Please vote.
Motion passes 11-0.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Item 10E is a resolution 2025-13907, a resolution to approve legal services for the prosecuting attorney. We have Chief Assistant Prosecutor Robert Leonetti.
Good to see you.
Motion made by Commissioner Haw, second by Commissioner Goike.
If I don't need to talk, I'm happy. Any questions for me?
I see no questions. Please vote.
You're lucky.
I want to thank the chair and Chairman Romano for putting this on, as well as Adriana for putting this on so that we could get it on this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Motion passes 12-0.
Next item is 11A, Records and Public Safety Committee Correspondence. Item A, 2024 Civil Service Annual Report. I need a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Van Sickle, supported by Commissioner Grott. Please vote. Item 12, public participation. This is the opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes.
Commissioner, can I speak on behalf of the annual report?
Sure.
Okay. My name's Tom Stosky. I'm a current commissioner on the Civil Service Commission. I was appointed earlier this year. And I just want to take a moment on behalf of our chairman, Bob Stanley, vice chair, Pat Massaroni, myself, to say thank you. We received a wage adjustment last month, and you all approved it. We just wanted to say thank you, and we appreciate it.
I apologize for that. What was your name again?
Tom Stosky.
Tom Stosky.
Yeah.
We see a lot of names, is trying
Yep.
to put faces with names.
I
Thank
joined
you so
in
much.
February, and you guys approved it after I was appointed by Mr. Hackle.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Our item 12A or 12 is public participation. Is opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any issue. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak? Seeing none, I will move on to commissioners' comments. Commissioner Haw.
Thank you. I would just like to congratulate Vice Chair Howard on doing an excellent job during his first year. That's all I have.
Commissioner Wallace.
I just wanted to ask if you guys get a chance or get a sweet tooth that you would go to one of our Mount Clemens local small businesses, Little Daddy's Cheesecake. One of the owners was just diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, and they are lost a very large percentage of their income with the construction in Mount Clemens. So just a plea on their behalf to get some cheesecake. That's it. Thanks.
Are you bringing any candy?
I'll bring candy and
I'll help fund it.
I love cheesecake. Seeing no other speakers.
Who did that? Was that Bill?
Please vote.
Wow.
I was really trying to beat those.
Motion adjourned.